place is seriously great. Children's Learning Center. I get to play with the Legos all the time, and the blocks. And they teach us cool little things. They teach us about germs, and they give us naps, and they teach us about the alphabet and everything. It's great. Whenever we'd go outside, we could run around wherever we wanted on the playground. And around the side of it, there was this tree. It was a holly tree, so it had those sharp leaves, and they never worried about it. But I realized that if you could climb up on top of the holly tree, if you could climb up and get to this one branch, you could climb all the way over. Because we were, 3 years old, we only weighed 40 pounds, so we could climb along this branch and get on top of the electric box. We could hop from the branch to the electric box and then pull ourselves up with this other branch and climb on the roof of the building. And then, by being on the roof, we could be kings of the place. Think about it. You're on top of the roof. Who can touch you? It's awesome. So, I made this plan, and I went to go talk to my friends. I don't remember the kid's name, but he had dark hair. He would always sit next to me, and he hung out. I told him, man, I have this great plan. And I brought him over to the tree. He followed me. I showed him. He was amazed. You could climb from the branch over to the electric box. You could hop up from the electric box onto that other branch, and you could very well get on top of the building. He looked at me and said, wow, you're a genius. Okay, let's go eat graham crackers. We always had graham crackers as our snack. But then, before I could enact my plan, I had to go home. My mom always picked me up when she got off of work at 5 o'clock. I went home and thought about my great plan. Went to sleep. The next day, I woke up. I was still excited. I was like, yes, I'm going to climb on the roof today. I'm going to be king of the Children's Learning Center. I went over to my mom and I said, Mom, I'm ready to go. She gave me the keys and said, go unlock the door and turn the car on and wait for me. And I said, okay. When I went outside, I was young and I was bored. And I started tossing her keys in the air. I tossed them as high as I could. It was awesome. I would toss them up and catch them. I was skilled like that. But once I tossed it up, and it went really high, and I got scared when it was falling down. It was coming so fast. So I let it hit the ground, and it broke my mom's pocket knife. I didn't let her know. She found out later and was really upset. But then she dropped me off at daycare. I went there. It was crazy. I went up to my friend. It was early in the morning. We were playing around and we had our morning snacks. I went up to my friend and said, hey, today's the day I get up on the roof. He said, wow, really? That's so cool. I hope you do it. But then a teacher came over. The teacher said, what's that? What are you talking about? What about the roof? And I said, thinking back to my morning, the only thing I could think of was tossing keys. Tossing keys really high. That's the only way you could do anything with the roof. So I told her, I tossed my mother's keys up on the roof. That was definitely the better thing to tell her as opposed to my plans to climb up on the roof. She couldn't know the truth. Otherwise she would stop me. She said, oh my god, you threw your mother's keys up on the roof? And I said, yes. Yes, I did. What are you going to do about it? And she called my mother and said, your son told me he threw your keys up on the roof. And my mom said, oh my god, that's not good. I need my keys. Keys are important. So we went home. My mother called my father. My father came over with a ladder. It was a lot of work for him to get the ladder there. He had to put it on top of his van. He got on top of the roof and said, where are the keys? I don't see the keys. Ricky, where did you throw the keys on the roof? And then I told my parents, I didn't throw the keys on the roof. They were angry at me. They punished me. I don't remember what they did, but it was traumatic for a 3-year-old. I went back to my daycare, and because of all the confusion and craziness, I never did get on the roof.